Welcome back. We're now joined by Naftali Indongo, a lecturer at the Namibia University of Science and Technology and a researcher under the UNESCO Chair in Digital Technology Design with Indigenous People. As a member of the organizing team for the Weaving Futures Indigenous Peoples Knowledge Fair, Naftali is deeply involved in bridging technology, indigenous knowledge systems and intercultural collaboration. He now joins us to expand on this initiative. Naftali, good evening and welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. As a member of the organizing team, Naftali, for the Weaving Futures Indigenous Peoples Knowledge Fair, what does this fair aim to achieve?
So ideally what we are trying to do is, we have been working with indigenous communities in Namibia, first of all. So, and we have been working on various projects. But we have collaboration with international communities. Now, the aim of this knowledge fair is to invite indigenous communities from across the world. So we have actually invited quite a number of people from different parts of the world. We have people from Peru, from Colombia. We have our neighbors, the Maasai from Tanzania and Kenya. Then we have the Kung from Zimbabwe and South Africa. So the main idea is to bring these communities together so that they share knowledge. Indigenous community have a lot of knowledge that they can actually share with us. Throughout our work with them, we have learned quite a lot of things, and we aim to achieve that with the greater audience on how do we shape the intersection of technology and indigenous communities, given the challenges that we are facing, things like climate change, human-wildlife conflict, and so forth.
As you mentioned, indigenous communities are at the forefront, when it comes to the impact of climate change, and they hold deep ecological wisdom. How does the fair create a space for knowledge exchange between local and global indigenous groups?
Right. So ideally, the way we set up the program is sort of like a gathering where we bring these communities together to spend about 2 weeks. Together on the road. So we'll move from Windhoek, then we travel to Noma. Now, as we are on the road, now these communities are actually engaging with each other. They are sharing knowledge, They are learning about, how do things are done, for example, in Malaysia, which is more developed in Namibia. And they actually have better rules in terms of, land rules, for example. And how are things done in Brazil, So, and how are things done in Namibia? And how can we share this knowledge among ourselves and going forward, how do we bridge, the future?
Yeah. Now, the program also includes community-led digitalization projects. How do you see digital technologies helping to preserve indigenous languages, cultural practices, etc.?
Yeah, so under the UNESCO Chair, we actually have been working on this with these communities for quite some time now. And we actually are at the point where we are thinking about, digital technology to help, preserve indigenous knowledge, for example. How do we preserve culture using, for example, artificial intelligence, Then we look at how do we shape, the future, for example, education. Indigenous knowledge holders, it's a great knowledge, and that is always passed on through, either being taught, it's physical, it's not like in school where it's theoretical. So how do we bring this system back into, for example, in the education system? That's actually one of the things we aim to achieve. So we have also something called the Namibian National Action Plan, which actually aims to bring the informal ways of teaching into education system as well. And how do we use now digital technology to do that? For example, visual reality, artificial intelligence. We have actually quite a number of projects that we are working on, which are actually aiming at achieving some of these greater results.
Fantastic. Well, many young Namibians, are passionate about both technology and culture. So what opportunities exist for them to get involved in projects such as this knowledge fair?
As the knowledge fair stands, I think most of the organizing teams are actually part of Namibian youth, most of our masters and PhD students, as well as, a lot of NUST alumni. Some are even working internationally who has been, working with us to make this event a success. And that also, we are not only, creating a space for only communities to share knowledge, but also for young Namibians to contribute and also to think about how do we actually move forward into, preserving our own culture,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us about when exactly, this knowledge fair is meant to take place.
Yeah, so the event itself, it happens from the 5th to the 18th of September. So basically, from the 5th to the 17th of September, we're on the road. That's where we'll be traveling, having all the great good time with, different communities. Then like as I've mentioned, we move from Windhoek, we go to Noma. Then from Noma, we go through Etosha. Then, that's still actually trying to get a hold of, how do we live together with our lands? How do we, then we actually, some of the great discussions are going to happen as we are on the trip. Then we go to Epupa, then after Epupa, we go to Korihas, then Spitzekoppe, then we are back in Windhoek. Then on the 18th of December now, so ideally what we actually want to come up with something. It's more like an exercise. So as we are on the trip, we are doing some exercise to see how do we actually tackle some of these challenges. Now the question would be, how do we bring these solutions that we've been discussing in terms of formalizing them? So now on the 18th of September, we have what we call the Custodianship Day, where we aim actually now to bring these indigenous communities who have been on the road together with us, the researchers from NUST, UNAM, as well as NGOs, policymakers. Yeah. So we have actually an event at Nankuse Lodge, just close to the Osiagutako Airport, where now we're actually going to have various discussions about how do we actually look at things like, for example, climate change, human-wildlife conflicts. How do we actually look at ocean literacy, for example? Then we have quite a number of actually small events are lined up for a lot of discussions for this.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, interesting indeed. Naftali, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time and all the best with the Knowledge Fair.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that was Naftali speaking to us there. We wrap up on that note today's edition of the Daily Roundup. We're, of course, back on Thursday. We do want to announce that we will not have a live broadcast tomorrow. So you can catch us Thursday here on ABC One, same time and place. For myself and the team, it's good night and thank you for watching.